So you want to learn how to get a professional audio setup at home for a cheap price. Welcome to 734 Studios. My name is Josh, or some of you may know me, Mosabi. I do make music on the side. You should totally go check that out. And I'm also a second-year sound designer at Wayne State University in Detroit. Today I'll be teaching you guys the basics in getting an affordable, entry-level, clean audio setup. It's actually the setup I'm using right now, so I will teach you guys how to replicate this one for one in this video. And whether you're using this professionally, or if you're recording for bands, or if you just want to sound better than your friends on Discord, this is a great setup for all of those options. It's incredibly mobile and very beginner friendly. And before I get into this, I do just want to say thank you guys so much for all of the support in my first video on this channel. I just started this as like a hobby, just like a side project for the side project, and it just totally blew up without any promotion, so I thank you guys so much for that. It was a video idea I was very passionate about, so I was very happy to see that come to fruition. So let's just jump straight into the meat and potatoes here. The microphone I'm using that you are hearing right now is a PreSonus PM2. I bought this off of Sweetwater for just over $100 not too long ago. I say that, but it's been like at least 2 or 3 years at this point. But they come in a 2-pack, and you know, what I'm using it for at this moment isn't exactly what they're built for. I bought it for use as a drum overhead mic. Specifically, the two of them go together, you know, a little XY setup, and they have a little mount that they can sit on and you can adjust to bring them in and out to help with phase. So it's a very economic option just right out the gates. You get the stand for it and you get the 2 mics. You get one to replace the other if something happens. So I think personally that's probably a better option for people that are just getting into sound than something like an SM58 or the 57, because these are each $100 a pop. So you're getting 2 for the price of 1 with a little bit more if you ever decide to really get into sound stuff. This mic is a condenser mic, so it does require phantom power. If you don't know what that is, don't worry about it, because this setup will come with something to deal with that. However, that's also the biggest drawback to this, because a lot of condenser mics can be improperly handled when it comes to phantom power. If it's not turned on or off at the right time, if you unplug it while it's still receiving power, that could potentially damage your microphone. So it's something you should use with caution, but that's why the pack comes with 2. I think the sound is very clear. The frequency response, if I decide to put a chart here, is very flat, and it's good for pretty much anything. I mean, it doesn't matter what you're recording. It's an incredibly versatile and durable microphone. The best thing about this for a casual setup, especially for something like Zoom or Discord, is that it picks up your voice from really far away. Whereas if I were to use an SM58, it wouldn't pick me up if I were probably much further than here. They're dynamic microphones, they're more focused, you kind of have to be talking into it, whereas the condenser is omnidirectional and picks up everything. Alright, so with microphones out of the way, let's talk about the brain of this whole operation. What's going to communicate from that microphone to your computer, which will be your interface. So this is the interface that I'm using. Hopefully moving it like this isn't messing it up, but I can still see it's responding to me, so we should be okay here. But this is a Scarlett 2i2. If you've ever done anything with audio equipment, if you're even somewhat into the niche, then you've seen this. Everyone's seen this. Even if you don't remember that you've seen it, you've seen this before. And it's not my favorite. I don't think it's anyone's favorite, but no one can deny it is one of the best bang for your buck audio interfaces on the market. Last I checked, they sat somewhere between $100 and $200, but usually on the lower end, depending on where you get it from. You can also get a Scarlett Solo if you're not interested in having the 2 different input jacks. And this is an older generation. They're a little more up to date than this. I think now they come with 2 XLR ports, which is 2 of this right here, if you don't know what that is, instead of the instrument jack. But yeah, it's incredibly cheap. The audio quality is fine. It's not incredible. If I had to be honest, if there's anything in this whole video you're going to want to upgrade, it will be this. This is what I run, an SSL2 Mark II Plus. It's about 150 extra bucks, but my God, it was the biggest increase in audio quality I've experienced from anything in my setup. And that's of course because of the quality of the preamp that's within that, but that's a whole nother video. That's another discussion topic. I don't want to overstimulate you guys with information here. But either way, to connect that to your computer, you will need a USB cable, USB to USB-C, which is what Androids take here. So if you've never seen that before, sorry, my camera's a little shit here. But yeah, it's what Androids take, and you just hook that into your computer. Depending on if you're on a Mac or Windows, you will need to install drivers for this. So what that means, if you don't know, you go to the Scarlett website and there will be a drivers option, and you hit the drop down and you click the newest drivers installation and put that on your computer. And that basically lets the interface communicate with your computer in a more effective manner. It gives you a couple extra features and it reduces bugs with certain software too. So trust me, it's worth it. It might sound like a waste of time. And while yes, it does technically work without it, you might run into a couple problems. But what I did for this cable is, this one's unfortunately broken, but this one has little slots on the side where you can fit in like adapters, and a couple others came with it. I would highly recommend getting something with a couple different ends so you can take this setup with you anywhere you go. So one more thing on the Scarlett here before we move on. I do want to talk about the phantom power that I mentioned earlier. If you do decide to go with the PM2s, they require that phantom power that I mentioned earlier. And there will be an option on here. You can see it's kind of glowing red right there where my index finger is. And that will be your button for phantom power. It says 48 volts on it because that's what the device is sending to your microphone. So if you're using this, it won't work unless your phantom power is enabled. If you're using a 58 or a 48, you don't have to worry about this. And the final thing I want to talk about here, I saved the most boring thing for last, so if you already know about this, just click off the video. Get out of here. We've had enough of you. But no, for real though. The last thing I want to talk about is XLR cables. It sounds silly, but if you don't know what these are, I would unplug it and show it to you, but I can't. Hold on. I'll grab one. Shit. So this is an XLR cable. You've probably seen one of these before. If you work with lights, you've probably seen something pretty similar. So there's the inside. This is the female end. This is the male end. There we go. Yeah. And what you're going to do is you're going to run the male end into your microphone and the female end into your interface. And be careful with your cable. I say as I'm very much abusing this thing. But be careful with your cable. Don't route it underneath your chair or anything you're going to run over. They are durable, but they're not invincible. But yeah, you will need an XLR cable to route your microphone. It's like a universal thing. They all need it. You might be able to find one somewhere you can hook up with USB. Like if you bought like a JBL mic or something cheap from Best Buy. That would skip the whole interface and everything. But odds are the quality is going to be 50-50. I'm not saying they don't make great stuff, but you probably have to pay a lot more than it costs for this setup. Either way, we got your mic. I have a little desktop stand on here too, if you're curious what is holding this up. If you're really trying to put the cherry on top too, you could get like a camera like I have. This was just like a $20 one off Amazon. And I got a little ring light here too. You can actually see it in my glasses a little bit. That's kind of funny. Yeah, those extra little things, they just really help pull the full setup together. I had a couple Zoom meetings this year where the people asked me if I was like a YouTuber or a streamer just because of my setup. And it's like, well, yeah, I technically do YouTube. I'm not a YouTuber. Like, I'm still just a sound designer. But yeah, so just quick synopsis, quick summary. If you jump to the end of the video or if you just already know what this shit is and you just want to know how to set it up, you got your mic, route it through your XLR into your interface, and then interface right into your computer, and then download the drivers, and that's it. And the very most important part before you're like, this didn't work, check your inputs and outputs. Yes, both. I know it, like you're focusing on your inputs here, but computers are dumb sometimes and they'll change your output too. They'll change the output to your interface. So it's like, how the fuck you expect me to hear? But yeah, that's about all I wanted to talk about today, guys. If you stayed till the end, thank you very much for watching. I hope you learned a couple things, and I hope this helps improve your setup to some degree. And if you haven't listened to my music yet, please check it out. I put a lot of effort into that. If you love Queens of the Stone Age or Muse, you'll like my music. So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you very much, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.